All right, welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right into something big today, a massive shakeup in China's entertainment scene. We're talking about their variety shows, and believe me, what's happening there tells a really fascinating story. It's all about risk, innovation, and what the future of TV even looks like.
So it all kicks off with this one number, 20, as in -20. That's how many variety shows just poof, disappeared from traditional TV schedules in a single year. Now, your first thought might be, wow, the industry's in trouble. But is it really shrinking? Or is it actually getting a whole lot smarter? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to be your guide through a brand new market report. It's from a company called JiRang Technology, and they looked at all the data from 2024 and 2025 to figure out what is really going on. Okay, you ready? Let's get into it.
First step, let's talk about traditional broadcast TV. Because hiding behind that drop in the number of shows is honestly a pretty wild and super risky strategy. Okay, so like we said, the total count of shows on regular TV took a nosedive. It went from 192 all the way down to 172 in just 1 year. That's more than a 10% drop. So yeah, that's the less part of this whole less is more idea. And look, on the surface, that seems bad, right? You'd think the networks are panicking, just playing it super safe, cutting back, and leaning on the same old shows they know work. But here's where it gets really interesting. The data, it tells a completely different story. Check this out. Even though there are fewer shows overall, more than half of them, 52%, are brand new. I'm not talking about season 10 of some old hit. This is totally fresh, totally new stuff. So what this tells us is that this is a massive strategic shift. The networks are literally cutting away their old safe shows to bet big on new innovative ideas. It's a real quality over quantity move. And you got to remember, it's incredibly tough for a new show to get noticed these days, so this is a huge gamble. Okay, so that's TV. Now let's switch gears and look at the online streaming platforms. Because if you thought what TV is doing was risky, well, the online world is a whole other level. It's like an all-out war for new ideas. So online platforms also saw a tiny dip in the number of shows, just from 159 down to 154. Barely a scratch compared to broadcast TV, right? But again, the total number isn't the real story here. It's all about what kind of shows they're greenlighting. And this is where their strategy just becomes crystal clear. An absolutely staggering 61% of the shows on these streaming platforms are brand new. 61%. This isn't just a little change in direction. This is a full-on aggressive hunt for the next big thing, and they do not care about leaving old, reliable shows behind. And in this crazy race, there is one clear frontrunner, Mango TV. You might know them, they're huge and focus on younger audiences. Well, they are pumping out an unbelievable 67 shows. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that is more than their biggest competitors, Tencent Video and Youku, put together. They're just completely dominating this new landscape that's all about innovation. Okay, so this brings up a really important question, right? You've got all these brand new, unproven, and, let's be honest, very expensive shows. So who's footing the bill? The answer to that question pretty much explains the entire engine driving this whole change. If you look at TV, even the sure things, the music shows, the travel shows, the ones that advertisers always loved, they're actually seeing sponsorships drop off. That's a huge red flag. It shows that the old school advertisers are getting nervous. So where did all that money go? What we're seeing is what you could call the great sponsor rotation. The traditional advertisers, we're talking huge food and beverage companies, they're pulling back. And who's jumping in to fill that void with tons of cash and a whole different playbook? You guessed it, internet companies. And here, you can see their strategy in black and white. You've got tech giants like Alibaba sponsoring shows on both TV and online. But look at the numbers. They're backing 5 shows on TV, but a whopping 19 shows online. That's not just a budget choice, folks. That's a statement. They're betting big that the future is online, and they're putting their money where their mouth is to shape what we're all going to be watching. Okay, let's bring this all together. What does all this data from that JiRang Technology report actually mean for the future of entertainment? Well, I've boiled it down to 3 key takeaways for you. First up, less is more is the new mantra. The entire industry is cutting back on the number of shows so they can make bigger, bolder bets on new ideas. For us, the viewers, that could mean fewer shows to choose from, but hopefully the ones we get are bigger and better.
Second takeaway, this is absolutely a tale of two screens. You've got broadcast TV making this gutsy pivot, but the real war for our attention, the real creative battlefield, is online, where you have players like Mango TV going for broke. And third, and this one is so important, the digital dollar is king. This whole shift towards risky new shows, it's being paid for by big tech. And that means the future of what we watch might be shaped less by TV execs and more by the goals of Silicon Valley. So that leaves us with one last big question to think about. In this new world of entertainment, fewer shows, but much bigger creative swings, all funded by a totally new kind of sponsor, where is the next global hit, the show everyone will be talking about, going to come from? And maybe, more importantly, will it be the show a creator dreamed of making, or the one a tech company paid to exist?